In today's video, we're going to be going over our dragon-based origins for the Origins mod made by the Discord user 𝓵𝓷𝓷𝓴𝓼. But before we get started, I'd like to ask you guys to hit the subscribe button down below because we're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers for the end of 2021 and we do this almost every single day. Either way, let's get into it. This origin is an almost dragon-based origin. Essentially speaking, after a long line of dragonborns beating with dragons, you have become the closest thing to a dragon while still maintaining the standard dragonborn physique that has become extremely common among the humanoid-based dragon. Practically mean, the idea behind this is it's meant to be as close to a dragon-based origin you possibly can while still keeping it to the confines of the human Minecraft figure that you are. But unlike most other dragon-born origins, it actually has the ability to have wings, so you can technically fly, but there's a bit of a caveat to that, and we'll get over that in the abilities right about now. Either way, running through the pros and cons, we've got Dragon Breath. The fire and magic in your belly can be summoned to rage upon others. Be aware, you can still get harmed from these effects yourself. Practically speaking, it's the dragon breath that the ender dragon throws on you in the end battle fight. Essentially speaking, it's kind of like that. It's slightly smaller around that, but moving on to the next thing, you've got dragon wings. Much like any of your ancestors, you actually have the ability to fly. Unlike the pure dragons though, you cannot hover yet. Practically just an elytra, essentially speaking. Dragon strength. Born in the skies, your legs are stronger and allow you to jump far higher. You can gather all of your strength to launch yourself higher and take flight. Again, the whole launching yourself and taking flight has the ability. It's basically one of those mostly done a lot by a lot of different origins. It was started by the Elytran origin. It's been done in many other origins that have wings from the get-go. It's basically just a really cool thing to have at the start because what's the point in having Elytra wings when you can barely use them because you don't have any rockets yet? And then of course just a better jump overall. Like that's pretty good. Going on to Dragon's Resilience, surpassing the Dragonborn ancestors, you have come closer to anything to being a dragon, making your scales and hide stronger than any others before you. Full extra bar of both armor and health. Intent was to survive the earlier stages of fighting dragons. Essentially speaking, you get a massive boost in not only armor, but in health as well. And then last out of the pros, you've got Dragon's Vision. I wonder what those eyes can see. Essentially speaking, you've got night vision by default as a dragon, meaning you don't need those potions and you don't need actual torches in order to see things. So hey, that just makes it a little bit easier for you in your life. Either way, moving on into the cons, there's only actually two of them, which you might think is a bad thing considering all the good pros and stuff along those lines, but let's roll through them. First off, you're a carnivore. Nearly a dragon, your body cannot sustain any food except for meat, which is kind of just an understandable thing. It happens a lot with a lot of these origins that are based off of real life things or things that have been in fantasy and stuff along those lines. Only being able to eat meat as a dragon is understandable, and thick hands. Almost attaining the full dragon form means it's difficult to use a shield, so you tend not to use one. Essentially speaking, you can't use a shield whatsoever. An added piece of information that the creator added into this origin is a lot of this stuff is basic to being a dragonborn. The intent behind this was to make a playing dragonborn a bit more safe while playing the medieval Minecraft mod pack. I tend to avoid adding cons, but if there's any that are needed, let me know with some suggestions if any. Again, this is intended for usage inside of the medieval Minecraft mod pack. One of the weirder things to be aware of when playing around with this origin is it's got its own little weird quirks and bits and pieces to go with it. First off, when you're playing around with your Dragon's Breath, there are very often occasions where when you throw the Dragon's Breath, if it doesn't hit something immediately after you throw it, the Dragon Breath effect will actually spawn right on top of you, dealing damage to you. And I'm not 100% sure about this one because it doesn't say so in any form of cons list, but there seems to be that fall damage has been turned up by a good notch, as well as the magic damage you get from the Dragon's Breath also hurts a lot more than what it normally would, considering you're meant to have near full armor from the very get-go. So I feel like from just playing around with this, it definitely does seem like it's on the level of maybe it's a bit overpowered when you consider the fact that there's only two actual known cons in there. But when you go through all the other bits and pieces around it, and being the fact that it really doesn't have too many good things about it in the overall grand scheme of things, it may seem like that those abilities and those pros are really, really good. They need to have something overkill to balance it out in the con section, but from just playing around with it, I feel like it'd just be another average playthrough like an Elytran, because you have the ability to shoot fireballs and you have armor immediately. Yeah, you have a bit few more abilities in comparison to normal, but overall I feel like that there's definitely a heightened increase on fall damage because that fall damage hurt in the many different times where I accidentally disabled my Elytra or hit the ground wrong when flying around with the Elytra and many other different things along those lines. I'd definitely say this is definitely one to go check out for yourselves. As always, I'll leave a download link for the data pack in the description down below. This one should work in 1.17. I was playing around with it in 1.17, but I'm not 100% sure if it was working correctly or not. But until next time, guys, make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Goodbye.